PharmaVentures, experts in deals and alliances.
Hello and welcome to PharmaVentures Insights here in Berlin. Digital health is one of the hottest areas right now, with the crossover between healthcare and lifestyle. And everybody wants a connected device or connecting their patients to the digital world. Joining me on the show today is Lukas Koltowski of HealthUp, a digital health company. Lukas, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
First, maybe we should start with digital health. It's an extremely popular area, and everybody thinks this is going to solve an awful lot of problems for patients just by taking what was an ordinary pill bottle or an ordinary device and connecting it to the internet. Is it really?
Well, that we'll see, Being a physician in the first place, what I see is that we've been always working on data, and so far the physician was collecting data manually from the patient, maybe sometimes using a stethoscope, and that was it, and processing in your head, trying to figure out what's going on and what's wrong and how to fix it. Whereas nowadays we are trying to collect this data in a slightly different way and make it digital, so that can be analyzed not by the physician anymore, but by some supercomputers and biostatistics taking place on real world data. And I think this is where we're heading. What we see, and that comes from clinical trials, is that actually when you do this analysis using supportive algorithms, you can actually treat the patients better. So that's one aspect of that. And I think the other is that if you get the real world data coming from the patient as he's at home, you can prevent some situations. You can be reactive, you can be proactive and not reactive as we used to be so far in medicine. So I think these are the two aspects why digital health might play a big role.
Let's move on to your company and what you're doing in this space, HealthUp. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So we have taken a part of medicine which deals with respiratory disease, and we are looking at patients with asthma and COPD, patients after lung transplant, with cystic fibrosis, with lung fibrosis, and other diseases that are maybe not that common as oncology or cardiovascular diseases, but at least are number 3 in terms of chronic disease. And what we look at is how can we get better understanding on what's going on in the lungs of that patient when he's out of hospital, out of clinic. So far that was really difficult. Maybe patient could report the symptoms, call the physician, but actually to get a proper test done, which is in lung function is spirometry, they had to physically go to the lab and do this thing on this big machine. So what we said is, let's try to make this device smaller. Let's try to give this device to the patient and see whether he or she can do it himself or herself at home. And we actually managed that. Now we are able to monitor this patient with the quality that we have at the hospital or at patient home, and get it streamed immediately to the physician or to our algorithms to give advice on kind of self-management as you do in hypertension or in diabetes.
So the patient benefit then is actually they get treatment as and when they need it, rather than I feel a bit breathless, I've got to go to the physician and it's going to be a few days before something
Exactly.
happens.
So before you visit the physician, you are able to see what's going on in your lungs and maybe up titrate your medication, maybe down titrate your medication. Let's say you are on corticosteroid, and you don't want to be too long on that. Your lungs improved already a couple of days ago. The question is, should you continue up to the moment when your physician told you as a regular, 10 days kind of thing, but can you personalize this time frame of those very active medications? On the other hand, as we said, you feel short of breath or something, you can test and you see, oh, this is exacerbation coming, so maybe I should go ahead with my additional drugs and go one step further on my ladder of this asthma action plan, as we call it. On the other hand, this small device allows us to detect things like COPD, which is chronic obstructive lung disease, that allows you to identify more patients which are there, but they were never diagnosed because they never visited a physician.
Right. And spirometry, as I understand it, it's not the most detailed methodology for investigating the lungs. It only goes so far. Is that just because it's easy to turn into a digital capability, or would there be something better you could?
Yeah, I know. I think we have to find a golden, a best place to be in between what is feasible to do by the patient and what is, the ideal. And obviously you can do plethysmography, but that requires a room where you are, a cubic where the patient sits in, and there's much more advanced. You cannot make a thing you can put in your pocket. So we kind of tried to find the optimal in this respect. And I'm not saying that there won't be new devices coming in the future, implants in your lungs or things like that would allow you to monitor maybe the patient even without him being involved directly in such thing. But we have to start somewhere.
Of course. And you being a physician would know that we're in a very conservative industry, and clinicians make the clinical decisions. Will that still be the case with what you're doing, or will it be artificial intelligence will interpret the data coming back and send recommendations to the patient?
Well, I think at this stage we have pretty clear, obvious algorithms, decision trees that are used in healthcare for those patients. And as I'm referring to this asthma action plan, which really is such algorithm that should be recommended to patients, still not. This is not still the case for most of the patients, unfortunately, despite it's been recommended by the European and American societies. So I think first step is to get it running, but maybe at some stage we'll take into consideration environmental factors, pollution, changing weather, pollen's coming in, and then how you as a person react to that, and building those personalized artificial intelligence supported algorithms just to advise you and not the population as general. I think this is a little bit early at this stage.
Right. And where is the company currently in its development status? Is the device ready to go? Where are you?
Yeah, so we have developed this device in really hard work on R&D for the last 1.5 years. Managed to certify that with CE mark and the quality system as Class 2A device. So it's ready to distribute and to sell in this respect. However, I feel very strong about working close to the society, working close to physicians and to researchers to get most of it. So at this stage we are running clinical trials not to register the device, because as I said, this is all done, the regulatory work is done, but we are working close to make the best of what we can have from this device, the data that we get, how to act upon that, because I think that you cannot play without people who actually treat this disease. You have to go hand in hand, and this is what we are doing, and we'll focus on that for next couple of years, probably getting more people using this device. But at the same time, being able maybe to find new niches where we really help.
And what's the long-term outcome or view for your company and in the digital world? Will you ultimately be acquired by one of the big digital companies, a Google or somebody, or does your future lie somewhere else?
We will see. I mean, my aim is really to have this device by every patient that needs it. Whatever it takes to get there, it might be a Google who will be interested, or another big data company. It might be a pharmaceutical company. You never know. I mean, who will find the best. But for sure, we need partners to move forward. We need smart brains to work with us, and that's what we're looking for.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing more about your successes and your growth in the digital world. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Brilliant.
For more information about PharmaVentures, visit our website